Well, I'm with a very delighted Tony Drago. Just won a big match, Tony, and it looks like you've survived Judgment Day.
Yeah, it's the most important thing because in the last couple of days you're trying to win, you're hoping other people lose. Now when you qualify, it's race to 9, winner breaks. It's no excuse. It's all in your hands. So, you know, I really look forward to it. I would have been bad if I come all this way not to make at least the Judgment Day, you know, the last 64.
And now you'll be able to enjoy your match tonight with Efren Reyes.
Yeah, it should be great. I mean, the last thing I wanted is like needing, not even to win, needing even one wreck, because that would have been a very, very nervous match for me. But now, you know, I believe Efren is through, I'm through. So, you know, the next best thing now is to entertain the crowd.
Can Tony Drago be the world 9-ball champion?
Yeah, why not? I mean, I can, yeah, I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, I'm playing good. If I break good, winner breaks. You know, if you're in the balls, you know, you're not going to miss that often. So if I break good and I had some luck on the way, yeah, why not?
I know a lot of people would love it, Tony, and I'd be one of them. All the best, buddy.
Thank you very much.
Steve Davis, Jim Weish in commentary. Who will give the magician, the tornado, head-to-head, and the crowd making their way in every single set. This will surely be a full house, and don't go anywhere because it could be pretty quick as well.
Reyes wins the lap. A race to 5 racks. Oh, sorry, Efren. My fault. I'm right.
A very relaxed-looking Tony Drago. I can add another blurb to Reyes's resume. He won the overall championship at the Derby City Classic
First rack,
a little
Efren
earlier
Reyes
this
to
year, and that no mean feat because they came from all over the planet to play in that one. But he does play all games: one pocket, bank pool, 9-ball, straight pool, master of them all.
Well, he struggled like many have struggled in the group phase. It's never a certainty. I think we may see the best of Efren here. A little bit of the heat off the levels of expectation. All of a sudden lessened the worry of qualifying. He's up against, as was said by John McDonald, the fastest player in the world. Certainly in the world of snooker, he's very, very fast. But I suppose Luke Salvis has got to push him pretty closely from Canada, hasn't he, Jim?
Yeah, wouldn't want to live on the difference between those two.
Excellently controlled break there from Efren, and would consider himself slightly unlucky to have not got an easier shot on this 2. I bet when he played that shot, he also had in mind the snooker behind the 5. The crowd laughing there as Tony Drago was so quickly down in his shot that Efren was in his eye line and as he was sitting down. Not an easy game to play when you've actually qualified. Sometimes when there's absolutely no tension in the game, sometimes you don't play your best.
I have a feeling that Tony would like to get this feather in his cap anyway. You never know who you might meet in the knockout stages.
That's right. The other thing, as perhaps not many people know at home, it's not just that Tony Drago got to the semi-finals of this World Championship last year, but he plays an awful lot of pool now. And of all the snooker players, I would say he is certainly the most practiced, and I think perhaps has achieved the most in the world of pool from a snooker aspect by winning the Masters last year. He's very much a threat. He's very much a pool player now, an all-rounder.
Waste little time in opening accounts here in this one. 1-0 to the Tornado, even though Reyes with a very good break off. Even when they speed it up, there's not much difference between Drago at that speed and in real time. Our referee, Michaela Tab, just sets the diamond. Tony will be looking to break into this cluster of colors.
Second rack, Tony Drago to break,
Seen the wing
leading
ball
by 1
going
rack
down
to 0.
with regularity there again.
Kicked badly into the pocket.
Foul shot, ball in hand.
And I don't expect this to be a particularly slow match. I doubt very much whether Efren will get involved in any tactical battles here. It will be a case of trying to run the racks as quick as possible and then settle down to prepare for the next phase of the tournament. Not really any problems with this particular set of balls.
You know, Steve, he uses a very long cue, considering he's only about 5'8", does Reyes, about 60, 61 inches, I was told.
Well, a lot of these players are not as proficient with the rest because they don't need to be, really. So if you have a slightly longer cue and you can adjust where you hold, where you grip it, you can reach a lot further across the table for those awkward shots. The only problem here, a little bit of work to do from 5 to 6. Just overcooked it a fraction, but actually may have worked out quite nicely. Efren, I think, plays with a very old Paul cue. He doesn't get sucked into the world of the new brigade of cue makers who talk a good cue. Perhaps are no better than the other ones. It's difficult to say, but Efren's just got his old favourite, I believe.
A simple 9 to have split the opening 2 racks. Deposited, and the magician back on level pegging with Tony Drago. Not many empty seats here in the World Trade Center. This inception of the Whirlpool Championship, heading across the Pacific for the first time in 6 years to packed audiences, young and old. And Efren will be breaking off in rack number 3. A star-studded field. More world titles than you can possibly count without having to take your shoes and socks off.
Rack 3, Efren Reyes to break, 1 rack each.
Always interesting to watch Efren break. He's not one of the hardest breakers in the game, but obviously he understands what's required for each table he plays on. He was using the cut break a couple of years ago, which makes the cue ball come to the side cushion after contacting the 1 ball. He's not using that this time. Considering himself slightly unfortunate to have been hampered by the 8 ball on this blue 2, but he's got the possibility of using the 8 ball to knock the blue 2 into the centre pocket.
Yes, many players in the game feel that if Reyes does have an Achilles heel, it's in the form of his break. Mind you, you wouldn't know it after the first 2 he's hit here. Very imaginative as displayed by that shot. Speaking of the break again, I remember a few years back, and I think it was the year Reyes won the World Championship, he knocked in 8 racks in a row against Francisco Bustamante. You've got to have a break to be able to do that.
Somewhat easier to break off on the television tables when the cloth is very dry, no humidity in the table at all and in the cloth. And I'm not too sure whether we've actually seen Earl Strickland talking about that yet, but he's got some interesting views on the break-off shot in the World Championship.
Yeah, we've been somewhat fortunate here. We haven't had any rain during play with all the doors open, and it's been very humid already. If it ever started raining, these tables might really become a little more sluggish, and certainly the throw off the cushions would change.
It was the earthquakes I was more worried about, Jim.
I understand they get about 1 of those a month here too. And you know, there's a player in the United States they call the Earthquake, Keith McCready. He'd enjoy it here. And right now, the enjoyment is falling on the shoulders of Efren Reyes. 2-1 ahead of the Tornado, Tony Drago. Round robin action still. It's Judgment Day. These two will survive to play into the last 64. And you can see this group completed now as well. All 7 played.
Kevin Smith there needed to win his last match to have any chance of qualifying from the UK. Shoulder going through. A slightly softer break from Tony. He can break harder than that, and it's paid off in one respect, but perhaps not in another. So perhaps a safety. 1 onto the 2 ball, send the cue ball across the table behind the 5. There's an option. Missed the 2 and has left Efren a chance. Can he manufacture a shot to get back out for position on that 2 ball? That's not easy. The green 6 is very much in the way of that. May just have enough room. The green 6 helped him.
A very useful little touch on the 6 there. Now stretching over, left-handed. Ensuring to leave an angle on this 3 ball to get back the opposite end of the table for the pink 4 next.
Just got to decide which side of the brown 7 he decides to play for. Very cleverly taking that out of the equation, using all the angles of the table, spinning the cue ball around with that side spin you can see. So clearly with these spotted cue balls.
Steve, I saw a set of snooker balls with a cue ball like that. I wonder what the chances are of getting that one through.
Yeah. You know, I'm sure people think it may put you off the shot. After a while, you don't even notice. You know, you don't look at the ball in that way. I suppose you could say there's an optical illusion sometimes that you can't see the middle of the ball because there's a spot to one side or the other. But generally, you look through the cue ball somewhat. Reyes smoothly and confidently playing like the champion he is. No pressure on this. Reyes would certainly like to win, not lose a good record. Drago has a bit to do.
Efren Reyes at the table. He knows he has survived Judgment Day, and he's leading Tony Drago 3-1. 5 balls down on the break as well. Not bad at all. Let's head back to commentary.
I know there's a little bit of luck attached, but a terrible position on the 2 ball. Look, nowhere near it. Not so easy to play safe when there's less balls on the table, so trying to manufacture a good safety shot here. Perhaps he'll play the double. He may play the bank. Definitely didn't there. You can see by where the cue ball finished up that he was no intentions of playing position for the 3. So what can Tony do? This isn't easy. Playing the safety to just in front of the middle pocket, and it's just poked its nose out. It is very difficult to pot into that middle, I would imagine, but it's a realistic opportunity into the corner pocket. May go in the middle. Didn't look a problem. 4-1 from Tony Drago. Looks like he's going to be breaking to save the match.
And this certainly will help Efren Reyes move up in the table in his group. As we said earlier, both players through to the last 64. They've survived Judgment Day. Just jockeying for position now when the seedings are made. 4-1 Reyes over Drago.
Wasn't a certainty for Efren the end of this particular league phase. He lost his first match and then dropped another match, and had things gone differently with the other results, he may have had to come to his last match under pressure. As it was, the bottom four cancelled each other out somewhat, and so Efren found himself with a relieved last match.
Yes, that's the case with Tony as well, Steve. I was watching him on one of the outside tables. He did not want to have to come in here and beat Reyes to qualify. And had he lost that outside match, that's exactly what he would have had to do.
And he was 3-0 down in that match as well.
Ball made off the break. But unfortunately for Drago as well, no shot on the one.
That one ball getting kicked safe there by the two. Now, does he play a safety shot, or does he play the aggressive bank shot? I don't really think there's any value in playing the bank shot. Why not play the right shot? Bit of match practice. Just sneaked it behind the two. And that's a very good safety. Made more difficult the escape by the green six that stops Efren going to the other side of the table. But there's a chance to play a snooker back here if he can contact the ball full. Good pace on that shot.
Tony gets down, barely gives us a chance to try and figure out what he's going to do.
Crowd clapping every shot here. If they play at this speed, they may as well just clap continuously.
Great representation from the Philippine contingent this year. Really no one that didn't turn out. One of the Filipino stars, Jose Perica, now lives in America, failed to make it through the qualifying stages.
Just not getting the balls completely safe, Tony. Well, they're safe, but at this level of play, leaving your opponent this type of shot can lead to problems, as he can get you in a very, very good snooker back. He doesn't want this to really go in. Well, perhaps he does, I don't know, but he's left himself a very difficult two. They love that. Perhaps somebody's just told him a joke at the same time. Whether or not he can pot the two past the five, but then trying to maintain position for the three is awkward. Oh, it's tight. No, safety across the face of the two. Left-hand spin, trying to keep that ball as close to the bottom cushion as possible, but concentrating on sending the blue two in a direct line up the table. Tony spotted something very quickly. Yes, I thought he might be playing that shot. It's just come unstuck, and now Efren's got the choice. The 2-9 combination, or run the rack normally.
The 2-9 would be a winner. A little more difficult than just slotting the two and then playing position to the three, though. So he's taken the overland path to victory here. But I've got a feeling he's going to be pretty sure-footed on that path regardless. All the people that came out to watch here today have really been treated to some terrific 9-ball. In this match, no different. Reyes putting on a clinical display, not only of breaking, but masterful positional play and safety play with it. And that's the reason he takes out Tony Drago 5-1. Smiles and handshakes, both players through to the last 64. But in this instance, a message to all the pool playing world sent. Reyes a 5-1 victor over Tony Drago.